allow us to synchronize our heartbeats, our minds, which they're finding now through active listening, creates that connection. Right? So that's why improv is a perfect vehicle to do this. And yet, for the longest time, when I say improv, what do people think? Funny man school. Hey, funny man school, like my wife used to say, Kim said. Hey, how's funny man school when I was going to Second City? But I saw the power of this thing in a broader sense in terms of development of people, development of your professional kind of skill set. And we don't practice this. We don't go to listening school. It's created through our life, through these defaults. We become protective. We have the priming, right? We have the predict, and it becomes more of a protection mechanism rather than kind of an opening myself up mechanism. So we got to redo it, right? You have certain ways that you listen, and it's by just this unintentional kind of ways of things. So sometimes it's not even our fault. But what it does, it creates all these issues within the firm. And like I said, if you get it right, it's the underlying kind of principle, the linkage between all this stuff and making it right gets you success. All those statistics will come through. And if you don't, it's just the opposite, right? Higher turnover, less engagement, less profitability, less customer engagement, less joy within the firm. All that stuff happens, and you don't even know it's happening. And I do believe that this issue, what it's called listening, or it's part of your culture, and we've talked about this, scales in an organization, especially startups, as you get started, exponentially because of how interactions grow. So pairwise interactions grow exponentially as you add people. But the operational issues of a firm grow linearly. So initially you don't even see the problem. Yeah, what's the problem? Nothing's going on, right? But underneath the surface, this stuff is brewing. It's brewing. And then at a certain point in time, it starts to kind of move exponentially up, and then starts to become the bigger issue and the limiting force in your ability to continue to scale, continue to do well. So if you address it sooner than later, especially with startups, you will increase your chances of being profitable and being successful longer term, both from a relationship standpoint, from a cultural standpoint, and a profitability standpoint. But what's happened is we ignore it. So now these firms have this ingrained way of operating with each other. It's hard to change then. That's why culture is so hard to change. Part of it is how our relationships have grown and developed together. And think about this. Let's give an example. I walk into a meeting, right? And you're there, we're all there, and I give out certain ways I respond to things. And it may be just very innocent. And we talk about this idea of yeah, but. How does that manifest itself? You'll say an idea, and immediately we either freeze up, we don't say anything, or we say why it won't work. We find reasons why it won't work. The yeah, but. Think about as that begins to develop and we start to develop this relationship, my brain, when I hear yeah, but, it immediately kind of gets defensive. Now, that happens over and over again. It starts to, through neuroplasticity, I start to create a mental model of what this firm and culture is about. Now, next meeting, a few months later, as we start to get together, my brain is already priming me for that for that experience. So cortisol is already spiking. I'm already getting defensive. So when we go into that meeting, less connections, less creativity, less innovation, those kind of things. And then you think about that, now I bring that to other people within the company. You bring that to other people, now that begins to propagate. And then there's a certain point in time when people say, how did we get here? How did our culture become this?